Um, so I guess I'll start by saying my name is Gilbert. I lead product here at SDF. I'm really excited to be here. So I think about our ecosystem and the products that are built on it as both our customer and the end product that we deliver. And Meridian, as Danelle mentioned on stage, is about convening our ecosystem. And so it's an honor for me to be able to open up the partner stage, the representation of our ecosystem, and maybe hopefully set or anchor some of the discussions that you all will have over the course of this week. To do that, I want to walk through why I believe that we collectively have a multi-trillion-dollar opportunity and why we're well positioned to capture it. To do that, I'll rely on 4 key points that will support the case for this opportunity and the path to winning it. First, crypto. Use that. Yeah, use that. Okay. Well, I guess while we're doing technical, can we make the notes a little bit bigger? They shrunk again. So first, crypto has a fad. That seems worse. Okay. Crypto has a fad problem. That fad problem is essentially tied to speculation. Unless we overcome that problem, we will never succeed. There's a massive market for us in users, second, and we are the best suited to capture it. Third, our products are singular, but our success is cumulative. We will not succeed individually, we will only succeed as an ecosystem. And finally, our individual capabilities, cost, performance, determine our collective competitiveness. So with that, let's dig into it. I already touched on this briefly, but crypto has a boom-bust problem driven by speculation. This is why everyone's focused on narratives, right? Narratives are this idea that, if I can tell you a story about why a token that you can buy for pennies today is going to be worth dollars tomorrow, that's what's important. But this creates perverse incentives, which in turn drives fad-like user behavior and a false signal for builders, which is what we care about in this ecosystem. And those builders can oftentimes mistake economic incentive for user needs. And that causes you to do all sorts of unnatural things like airdrops and token farming and all of these things, which don't solve real problems. And so I'd make the case to you that real-world utility is actually the opposite. It is low beta, meaning it's independent of asset prices. And so users solving an existing problem care about product's ability to solve that problem, to address that need. They don't care about the technology it's built on, just that it works. So usage is determined by product market fit and the prevalence of the problem itself, right? So if you can solve a user's problem, and there's a lot of those users out there, you've got a pretty good product. Asset price in this case is operational cost for builders. And so paradoxically, as asset prices fall, the builders on the ecosystem become more competitive, not less, right? If your users aren't driven by the expectation that the token price goes up, if the product gets cheaper and it does the same thing, it's better product market fit, not worse. And so Decaf will be on this stage later today, and you'll see a lot of these factors in action. And so I'd encourage you to stick around and see that talk. It's going to be great. But we can also generalize this by looking at stablecoin adoption. So this is a chart from Nick Carter's most recent talk at Token 2049, looking at stablecoin adoption. And you can see that these are sticky users. They found a solution for a problem that's independent of crypto. These users want access to dollars for value preservation, payments, ease of access, and low cost. Nobody had to convince them this problem existed, only that this was the right solution to that problem. It's a large market today, and it's well on its way to being a massive one. So what can this tell us about the broader opportunity? Well, this decade, about 1.4 billion people will join the middle class. Almost all of them will be inside that gold box. With them will come $15 trillion of new purchasing power, savings and investment demand. And this will create all sorts of new needs for which they'll be actively searching for solutions. Savings, investment, credit, entire economic sectors we take for granted in the West will see massive influxes of new customers and an explosion of applications looking to serve those customers. And that's not just users originating in this box. That's applications and developers emerging as well. So we're well positioned as an ecosystem we're well positioned as the ecosystem upon which these solutions can be built. Anchored by MGI, who you'll hear from next, and if you haven't seen on the update to the agenda, Alex Holmes, the CEO, will be giving the talk instead of the Chief Digital Officer, so I'd definitely stick around to hear about that. Powered by MGI, we have one of the most extensive on and off-ramp networks in the world, and it's growing. This enables our ecosystem to reach all of these markets and potential users. To take advantage of that, we have a growing number of high-quality regulated assets, stable coins, being issued on the network. And, and you'll hear from Societe Generale, Circle, Etherfuse, and Red Swan, to name a few, who will be talking about their efforts here. Incorporating those, we have a growing DeFi ecosystem to take advantage of those assets and that reach via the on and off-ramp network to build more complex financial applications and systems on top of it. We also have low fees, high throughput, and the capacity and roadmap to scale as demand grows. So those prices will stay low as users come on board and more applications and more products are built on top. And then finally, UX innovations like sponsorship and passkeys, which make the network disappear, which is critical if you're trying to build these use case applications where the user doesn't need to know about the network they're using underneath. So those are compelling pieces, but how do we bring them together? So in this world of real-world utility or serving low beta users, the finished product for the user is a singular product. It's a singular solution. It's not a suite of products. They don't know they're using Stellar. They don't know they're using Ethereum. It's Decaf. It's Beans. It's AirTM. And it solves the problem for them, hopefully more than one. But it's made possible by a broader ecosystem of enabling technologies. Our differentiation is inherited from these enabling technologies that are lower in the stack. But the paradox here is that the adoption and usage of all of this stack is determined by the application layer. Specifically, the application's ability to find a fit between user need and solutions enabled by that ecosystem. This is fundamentally a distribution problem. And you win in distribution by making your distributor the obvious choice. We do that by enabling them to outcompete existing participants. The diagram on the right here represents a fairly classic innovator's dilemma, a book by Clayton Christensen. The market dynamics I've laid out so far suggest that this will be ripe for disruption. But it's important to remember that you drive the unit economics of these distributors, the disruptors in the market. So you decide who they will serve, what markets they can enter. Your growth, our growth, ultimately depends on your ability to support their competitiveness in these markets. And what that means is, every time we add a new on and off ramp, every time we work to lower the size of transactions that are necessary to use a service, the cost to do an on and off ramp transaction, the cost to set up a new account, to KYC a user, lowering those prices makes the entire ecosystem more competitive, and that's how we win. So we must remember that getting well paid on a few users isn't winning or sustainable. In fact, it's a losing strategy, and is often described as Javon's paradox, which is that lowering costs, increasing efficiency doesn't shrink the size of a market. Many times people make that mistake that if I lower my costs, I'll take in less money, but economic history shows us that actually the reverse happens. It grows in absolute terms, as lower costs and higher efficiency enable substitution, i.e. you outcompete the alternatives in the market. So apps, our distributors, are able to use this to unlock new markets and more usage. They can serve users with less means. They can displace a narrower and narrower use case. And those reduced costs flow to user acquisition, either as increased spend or reduced customer acquisition cost. And this increased competitiveness accelerates the growth of the existing ecosystem, importantly. So many of the applications that are already on the network will grow faster. They'll acquire better users, more total value. But it also increases the number of applications distributing the services of lower down in that stack. And that's because it'll become clear to every other application or every other potential application out there that building in this ecosystem, building on this ecosystem will be a necessary thing to do if you want to win and compete in these markets. So those are what I think are our 4 key areas. Why we want low beta, sticky users, where 1.4 billion users and $15 trillion in value will come from. Why there's no individual success without ecosystem success. And why that success is dependent on our collective competitive efforts. And I'll just close by saying, I hope you all are as excited about this opportunity as I am, but I also hope that this Meridian, you take an opportunity to connect with each other, to figure out how you collectively can work together to win in these markets. Because, we can't solve all of these problems at the foundation by building better technology. In fact, we can't even help with that, right? We can make it easier and cheaper to build on the network. We can make the network run faster. But if we can't get the ecosystem to connect to the last mile, to issue the assets, to provide the services which make all of these applications possible, none of it will work. So with that, I hope we all focus on this massive opportunity. I hope you have a great conference. So thank you so much, and have an awesome Meridian.